as I was watching the presidential tours in counties like Murang'a, Kirinyaga, and the rest, I noticed one peculiar leader who addressed the crowd that had attended the meeting with a lot of development mindedness. The Murang'a governor, Irungu Kang'ata, when he was given the microphone to address his people, he went straight to the point. Mr. President, we do not have a stadium, an international stadium to be particular. Mr. President, this and that project has not been implemented. Mr. President, we have this and that problem. Mr. President, we need the schools sorted out. Mr. President, we need the responsible ministry to create policy for this and that. That is the kind of leader that every leader should emulate. Every politician should emulate Irungu Kang'ata. He went straight to the point and ensured he outlined his developmental agenda. Come 2027, the president and his team will not say that Irungu Kang'ata did not make the requests. But now, all the other leaders who accompanied the president, especially those ones from Meru and Tharaka Nithi, all they were telling the president is asanti sana kwa kuchagua mtoto wetu kuwa naibu wa rais. Wait, shouldn't that translate into development? Shouldn't that translate into better kind of working for leaders on the ground? Shouldn't that mean that a lot of goodies have come down from the national government? Wait, ever since Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, how many projects have been implemented in Meru and Tharaka Nithi? How many projects have been initiated courtesy of Kithure Kindiki? Well, your guess is as good as mine. And the people of those constituents or those counties are at a better position to tell us what projects have been done. Other politicians, and especially governors, which is a shame, all they could say when given a microphone was, oh, asanti sana rais kwa kututembelea, asanti sana kwa kuja huu mtaa wetu, 10 bila breaks. I thought the president said it was a development tour. But well, what do I know? The spokesman of State House, Mwaura, said that the president was consulting to know the problems of the people. Did I see any consultation there? No. I only heard and saw a person who was not an office holder, but a candidate in an election. This is beginning to feel as if we are in campaign mode. This is beginning to feel as if we are back to the campaign trail. I'm not a political expert, so I may be wrong. But this brings me to a fundamental question. When we came up with the Constitution 2010, or the team of experts, and they granted us that constitution and we voted for it in huge numbers and supported it, this is not what we envisioned. For those who were able to vote then, this is not what they envisioned. We thought with the establishment of a new constitution that had established various institutions to function in their roles to better the running of the country, things will be better. We thought we had eliminated the monstrosity that we used to call the central government. That's why we accepted to vote in for devolution, so that maendeleo ifikie mwananchi mashinani. Lakini inakaa kana kwamba sasa maendeleo yote yanatoka katika serikali kuu, na hili ndilo jambo ambalo tulikuwa tunajaribu kuliondoa katika kujitwika katiba mpya. Lazima tufike mahali tujiulize maswali yale ambayo ni magumu kama nchi. Lazima tujiulize, walioketi na kuitengeneza hii katiba walitaka tuwe nchi ya watu ambao wanakaa kana kwamba wanamwabudu rais? Walitaka tufike mahali tuwe kana kwamba tu nchi, rais asipotembea kwenu, asipotembea mtaa wenu, asipotembea kaunti yenu, asipotembea eneo bunge lako, hautapata maendeleo? Mbunge wako ako na hazina ya CDF. Gavana wako ako na hazina ambayo inatoka katika serikali kuu. Gavana wako anaokota ushuru katika kaunti ambayo unaishi ama ambayo unapigia kura. Mbona gavana angoje mpaka rais aje ili aeleze wananchi wake kwamba maendeleo yanakuja? Nimesiwasikia wengi wakiambia wananchi, msikose kumkaribisha rais. Tusipomkaribisha na tukimtenga, maendeleo hayatakuja. Hii si kulingana na katiba yetu mpya. Hii si kulingana na sheria ambazo tulijitwika mwaka wa 2010. Tulijitwika katiba ambayo ilileta wizara mbalimbali na ikaleta mabadiliko mengi katika uendeshaji wa shughuli za serikali, na ikawapa ofisi watu ambao watapanga mwelekeo wa serikali. The Controller of Budget, the Auditor General, Office of the Attorney General, the Public Service Commission, the TSC. And it is worrying when we see leaders who are supposed to be mobilizing in parliament for more allocations from the national government, leaders who are supposed to have done significant development and brought significant change in their constituencies through the Constituency Development Fund, leaders who are supposed to have done a lot of development in their counties and changing the lives of their constituents through the money allocated to their counties, begging on presidential tours for development, coming out and asking their people to come out so that they may get development. Really? It's beginning to sound like we are in the Moi era. This is a wrong move. And if we are not careful, we will be back to that particular era. There is a blatant disregard of the law. We have leaders who have no authority or mandate under the law, dishing out employment positions in government. Which country have you ever heard that a senator or a member of parliament or a representative of a district or an area or a constituency is the one employing teachers? That is a shame. It is a shame when I hear a woman representative representing all the women in a county asking wananchi to tell their wabunge to go to the house on the hill to get letter of appointments for teachers. We may have lived through bad times, but this is proving to be worse. This is not what we intended. At all, at all. The country must change directions. If only we can adhere to the dictates of the Constitution, if only we can adhere to the laid down laws and rules, this country will function properly. When it comes to matters of employment for the teaching workforce, that should autonomously only be dealt with by TSC. When it comes to employment of civil servants, including PSs, that should be left as a preserve and prerogative of the PSC, which constitutionally is. When it comes to matters salary, the SRC doesn't even seem to be functional anymore. It seems to be under the capture of the state. It seems to be under the capture of members of parliament. Because how do you explain that the rest of the country is struggling with making ends meet, and you come out and propose an additional 366,000 on the basic salaries of members of parliament. People who are already wealthy, if I must say. This is a shame. Why don't they go out and say that civil servants have received a 50% increase, 20% increase, instead of adding those people who have always had big salaries more and more money? We've seen the likes of Ibrahim Traore. He reduced the salaries of his ministers. He reduced his own salary significantly and allocated a 50% increase for civil servant salaries. Why don't we just let institutions work as they are intended to do in the Constitution? All this hullabaloo of this leader is coming to my area, this leader is coming to my area, the president is here, I have to go and ask for development. It does not work that way. Madam Governor, Mr. Governor, Member of Parliament, MCA, if only you do your work as per the law, you have the resources. This country will work. This country will function as it is intended. But the filth that is our Kenyan politics cannot allow us to function properly. That is my unfiltered insight.